Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our lunch meeting today, and welcome to our annual meeting. Hopefully, you guys are also feeling the energy from this AFFI. I feel it's palpable, it's different, it's better than even last year, and I hope you're feeling it too. Thank you, John. I'm really excited to share with all of you what we have planned in the year ahead, and I want to give my thanks to the AFFI board also. They're a tremendous group of individuals who dedicate a lot of time over the year, and they're thinking about what's best for all of you and their organizations, right? They are really instrumental in helping AFFI staff focus on what matters most to the category of frozen. And that's really about how do we grow the category together. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. This is our strategic plan in place now. Hopefully you guys have all seen this. I share this every year. It's kind of our roadmap. We are almost at the tail end of that, and the AFFI board is going to spend a lot of time this year as we think about the goals ahead. I fully expect those goals are going to focus more on what John just mentioned, which is the perception of frozen. How do we elevate the perception of frozen foods? Today we're advocating, we're elevating, and we're innovating on your behalf. I'm going to share how we're going to use all of those in this year. And I'm going to start with Elevate, leading off of what John shared. This isn't new to us. In last year, we, with members of Congress, launched the SHOP Act. It's called the Supporting All Healthy Options When Purchasing Produce. It's a bit of a mouthful, but what it means is that we are pressuring USDA to include more frozen foods in federal feeding programs, such as the Produce Prescription Program or Nutrition Incentive Programs. Believe it or not, both of those are entirely fresh today. That's unfortunate when our consumers really appreciate frozen and need frozen for the same reasons we feed frozen to our families. So the SHOP Act is important. We have about 30 co-sponsors right now of the SHOP Act, both in the House and the Senate, Republicans and Democrats. Fortunately, everybody in both parties eats frozen food. But we need your help to build more support for that act, and I'm going to come back later at the end and encourage you to do so. So how do we bring, while we're working on the reputation of frozen on Capitol Hill through the SHOP Act, how do we enhance the perception of frozen with the consumer, which is probably who matters most to all of your businesses? We know that our core consumer is eating frozen foods once a day or a couple times a week. And they value frozen foods, not just for the convenience and affordability, but also for the quality of frozen food, for the nutrition of frozen food, and for its contribution to reducing food waste. When we look at consumers who eat frozen food less frequently, they too share the appreciation for frozen's convenience and affordability, but they have less of an appreciation or acknowledgement of the quality of frozen food that we all know is there. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to lean into the quality of frozen food and provide more information to consumers on the quality of frozen foods. But we have limited finances, right? We're just getting started on this. So how are we going to do that in an effective way? We don't have a budget, unfortunately, to go out and do a Got Milk campaign. I know I've talked to some of you over the last couple days about that, maybe one day, but that's not where we're starting. We're going to enlist the help of messengers who are very credible to our consumer. Those are dietitians, retail dietitians, and nutritionists who already believe in the power of frozen, but they don't necessarily have the tools to communicate it well. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to develop tools for them, data-based proof points on the quality of frozen. So what is that? That is the health, the nutrition of frozen. It's how you freeze products. Believe it or not, the basics of freezing, the consumer doesn't understand. They think that you guys are adding preservatives to aid the freezing process of fruits and vegetables. And we know that's not true. So we have some, I'd say that's easy work to do, but important work to do. But we're going to develop those proof points around the quality and also around food waste. We know from research we did this year that those 2 points, the quality of frozen, explaining what that means, and frozen's contribution to food waste, are the two most important things that we can communicate to elevate the perception of frozen. So look forward to sharing that with you as we develop those tools and working with you to help us be communicators. As we think about the perception, another area is sustainability. So I just mentioned food waste. We know that food waste is important to both policymakers and consumers. Last year, we developed 2 research papers to help us talk about frozen food waste, or talk about food waste with frozen foods. One was a paper with Cornell University. We asked Cornell, it's a white paper, we asked them to explore the published literature on food waste and frozen food. Not surprisingly, we found that frozen food is wasted less than fresh, both at retail and in the home. So we're going to use that as we communicate about frozen foods, but then we went a step further and we explored what consumer attitudes and behaviors are around food waste and frozen food. 83% of consumers believe that frozen foods are a solution to food waste. That's phenomenal data. We need to use that and communicate that. And both of those studies are on our website in usable forms for you to take advantage of. So please use them. That's for all of us, again, to amplify the benefits of frozen. Use them in your social media, use them on your websites. While we can do a lot on food waste, we have to be cognizant at the same time that this industry is an energy-intense industry. And there are pressures across the food industry, in our food supply, to reduce our carbon emissions. So the AFFI board very wisely just committed to a relationship with a consulting firm called Guidehouse Consulting. And they are going to develop, they have a training program to help our companies go from 0 to 100 on decarbonization programs. So I know many of you are just starting to have conversations with your customers about decarbonization and your sustainability plans, and you might not know where to begin that process. And that's what Guidehouse is going to do for you. So they're going to take you all the way through that journey. The board has subsidized this program, so it is an amazing benefit for anyone who's an AFFI member. Please take advantage of this. I encourage you to do that so that 2 years from now, when you're not having only a conversation with your customer, but rather your customer is requiring this of you, you're ready. All right? So I know I've talked about perception and sustainability. We are not taking our eyes off of food waste or off of food safety. Food safety remains our #1 priority at AFFI, and you all know why. It is vital to protect our consumer and to protect your businesses and to elevate the perception of frozen. So this year we will continue to drive our listeria policy in Washington, D.C. We are seeking an action level greater than 0 for ready-to-eat, for listeria monocytogenes in ready-to-eat, low-risk frozen foods. We are also going to continue to execute against our frozen berry market protection plan. That is going to reduce the risk of hepatitis A in our global, and we have a very global supply chain, both in fruits and veg, but for frozen berries, that's a big element of this plan. So we will continue marching along that path. And then there's more happening in Washington than food safety. So as these conversations and different policies move forward, AFFI will be thinking about you and your businesses and how these policies affect the frozen food industry. So please know that your voice will be heard, whether that's on traceability, front of pack labeling, tax reform, sodium, and any other policy. We will be working with your businesses in mind. As we think about how we grow the category, yes, we're going to focus on perception, but there are also some market basics to focus on, right? So last year we developed 2 research papers. Then these are both available for free. They're on our website. They are tools for you to use as AFFI members. They look at retail trends by the consumer, and they look at ways that you as manufacturers can partner with your retailers on innovation to make sure that you've got innovation that's going to be successful. And how can you merchandise product in a way that's going to be beneficial for the retailer, but also you? How can you provide insights to that process? So it's really, these are tools for you to use to help collaborate with your retail partner. And we're going to take that collaboration one step forward. In June of this year, we're going to have our second Frozen IQ conference. And this is a conference that is intended to bring together you as thought leaders of manufacturing of frozen food companies and your counterparts at retail who are responsible for frozen food retailing. Let's come together and let's talk about how we can grow the category together, because that's the way it's going to happen. We need to collaborate, and we need all of the great brains together in thinking about how we expand and grow this category. So we're a pretty small team at AFFI. We are 10, 11 people, depending on who you count and how many we've got some consultants and some part-time people, but we're a small group. We're a team with all of you. We don't do any of this by ourselves, so I want to talk about a couple of ways that you can help us be successful this year. First and foremost, if you're not a member, please join AFFI. This is the place where we get things done together as stewards of the category, so please join AFFI if you're not already a member. Second, help us with the SHOP Act. Help us help you by connecting your company to your member of Congress to encourage their support and sponsorship of the SHOP Act. It's especially helpful and important for frozen fruits and vegetables. Third, join us in amplifying the narrative of frozen foods. We've got a great story to tell. We're going to have more ways to help you tell that story this year, but we need your help to do it. And it's not just in the month of March, right? Let's do this year-round. We're eating frozen food year-round, so we don't have to be constrained to 1 month to promote frozen food. So let's do that together. The only way we're going to be effective with this is if we're all rowing in the same direction. It's not just AFFI, it's going to be all of you. It's going to be our cold chain partners. It's going to be our retail partners. And it's going to be others who rely on the cold chain, like our friends in seafood and poultry and meat. If we're all using some of these same messages around the quality and frozen's contribution to reduced food waste, we can have an impact. And that's the goal. So thank you very much. With that, I'm going to conclude today's annual meeting. But let me say that, and I think I say this, hopefully you know this, but I personally am very passionate about frozen, and I love working for all of you. I have an amazing staff at AFFI, and we are all passionate about this category, and we appreciate what we do collectively, and we're looking forward to a great year. So with that, let me